The hardest year of my life ended up being the most peaceful year of my life. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy. I think that when we hear the word peace, that we often tie that to the circumstances of our life. And we think, when I have this, I'll have so much peace. Like if I have more money, I'll have peace. If I have that relationship I've always longed for, I'll have peace. If I have the body, peace. The job, peace. Opportunity, peace. The friend group, like you name it, we tie it to our circumstances. In 2025, I met the Lord for the first time ever. I had my first spiritual encounter with Him. And if you've been watching my YouTube videos for a while, you know that before I met God, I was living a very worldly life. I was living for the world, y'all. Chasing after money, chasing after guys, chasing after looking as skinny as I possibly could, drinking all the time, drugs, porn, sex, all the things. You name it, I was there. And then I started searching for truth, and I met the Lord. I had a spiritual encounter with Him, and it was like nothing I have ever experienced before in my life. It was just God. It was realizing, wow, God is the real deal. And so I encountered Him, and after I encountered Him, where I was at, I was so low. I knew that religion had lied to me. I knew that I didn't have to have my life cleaned up before I went to Him. I realized that when I met Him, that this was so much realer because He met me at the lowest point in my entire life. And so after that, which I think this happens to a lot of people, we think that our life is going to get very easy. And that's not what happens, because spiritual warfare becomes a thing and life gets honestly way harder. It looks really, really messy before it looks good again. And it's true, because now you're so aware of the world and of the sin, and you just keep growing in that. And God exposes you to a lot of things. And so I encountered the Lord, and I started experiencing a lot of warfare, a lot of isolation. I was losing friends, okay, like that. I mean, they were like, what are you talking about, this God stuff? It was really hard for me to talk about God because I just felt like everybody was looking at me like I was insane. And when when you're alone in that environment, you really think that you might be going insane. But I just knew. I knew I had encountered God, and I knew they were going to look at me like I was crazy, but I just knew. And I was struggling with a lot of things. Before that, I had a really bad um, food problem. Like I always went through like binging disorders and then starving myself and trying to look as skinny as possible and all these things. And when I met God, He exposed these things in me. And of course, there's this whole thing where you try to start performing for God because you don't know what else to do. I mean, when you're just brand new, I was such a baby in it. And this wasn't even that long ago, but this just shows how much the Lord can do in a little bit over a year. You just don't know, and you go through like performing stages and thinking that God's mad at you all the time and all these things, and you don't realize His grace and His love and His goodness. And so I was going through all of these things, trying to leave my corporate job. God had really shown me that that was not for me, and I had all of this uncertainty. Going through the year, meeting the Lord, there was always like this sense of peace. There were so many great things, but to top it all off, I ended up losing my dad. Just out of nowhere, my dad died, and I'm gonna like tear up talking about it, but it just really struck me, you guys, like that was like my best friend, and that was just kind of like a why is this happening, and in a really hurt moment. And so my life looked so a mess, but yet with all of that, with all of those crazy things going on, I somehow had peace. People like to mix up happiness with peace, and when you think about happiness as happenings. So happiness is based on what is happening, your circumstances. I am happy because I have all of this money. I'm happy because I have this family, these relationships, this car. And it's not bad to have these things at all. But peace is about presence, about the presence of God. That is where peace comes from. So I think for the rest of the video, keep that in your head. Happiness is from happenings. Peace is from presence. Peace doesn't mean that you feel good all the time. I cried last year. I still cry. I questioned. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was struggled so much, and I had to bring all of that to God. And I will say, because of just meeting the Lord recently, I met the Lord after talking to Him, like very authentically and honest. And that's if you're struggling at all, that has been something that has helped me so much with my relationship with God, is just being brutally honest, because he already knows what's in my heart. He already knows what's in my mind. So even when thoughts of, I'm so jealous of this person, God, or I'm angry about this, I'm thankful for this, but I'm not so thankful for this. And I want to be there. I genuinely want to be there, but I just don't feel that way. And I know that that might not be true, might not be the case, but it is having that authenticity with God on how you're truly feeling. Like, that is also like where peace comes from, is that open relationship with the Lord, like just being so honest and vulnerable with him, since he already knows, you might as well be. But back to what I was saying is, I was so frustrated and so sad, because it's just like all of these things were happening one after another. I got this job, and then they cut me from their training program, and I just felt like a lot. It was a lot. Peace isn't pretending that everything's okay, it's knowing that God's okay. So, in other words, peace doesn't come from your confidence in your circumstances, it comes from your confidence that's in God's character. Like I was saying earlier, my life looked really, really messy in 2025. I'm going to be completely vulnerable with y'all. It doesn't look the cleanest right now, but I still have a lot of peace, and that is the truth. But God brought a lot of things to the surface for me. He brought a lot of sins that I didn't even realize were sins. Like, when you're living so deeply in the world, you really don't know how evil the things you're doing are. Like, I knew we all have that right or wrong in us, but to a certain degree, like, the things get so normalized. Like, I was drinking all the time. I mean, the world looks at that and goes, "You're young, drink, go have fun, like, go have sex, go do all these things." Like, that is absolutely what the devil wants. He wants it to be normalized. So you go and you do these things. And so God was bringing up all of this stuff that all of a sudden made me really uncomfortable. Like the music that I was listening to, sins, unforgiveness in my heart from childhood. I had so much unforgiveness in me, and wounds and hurt and just things that happened. Like, it all came to the surface. So God was not making my life worse by doing all of this, but he was showing me things that needed to be brought up before he could heal them in me. These things needed to be healed, but how are you going to know what to heal if you don't know what the problem is? If you don't know where it's hurt, you need God to bring those things to the surface so the healing process can begin. And healing sounds like it's so good. Like, you hear people go, "Oh, it's so healing," you know? It should be, "Oh my gosh, it's so healing." Like, healing is a painful process. Peace is one of the fruits of the Spirit, and it grows. It's not something that's forced, it's not manufactured. It comes from remaining connected to the vine. And who is the vine? Jesus Christ. So when we look at the fruits of the Spirit, all of these are characteristics of Christ. That's why it's called fruits of the Spirit. And I just want to talk about that for a second. Like, if I were to go and tape a bunch of apples to a tree, that doesn't make it an apple tree. And it's the same thing. If I staple a bunch of oranges to a tree, does that make it an orange tree? I think oranges grow on a tree. I don't know. The point is here is that you can't force these things on you. I think that this is something so common that Christians do, people do. I mean, they try to force it on top of them. I was doing a lot of like self-help and new age stuff before I met the Lord. And so I tried to force these things on top of me, but it didn't actually transform who I was. It was just me pretending to be a way, like acting in accordance with it. And I do have a lot of charm. Like, I'm a very charmful person. I'm not saying that to flex or anything. In fact, it can be a problem. But I could force these things to look a certain way. I mean, we do that as humans, okay? We want the world to view us in a certain way. And I was doing that, all the self-help things. So it's like I could tape this stuff on top of me, but my heart didn't truly feel that way. And when you're spending time with Jesus and you're talking to God, these fruits of the Spirit become a part of who you are truly, like truly within your heart. Like, be honest with yourself. If you're not feeling it in your heart, that hasn't fully manifested in you. Like, you need to just keep going back to Christ and hanging out with him and being honest with him. Because the more you do that, the more you read the word, it just becomes a part of you. Not because it's how can I become a more peaceful person or more patient or more self-control. It's how do I stay connected to the source of these characteristics, and that source is Jesus Christ. He is the vine. Like, I want to talk about the supernatural of Jesus Christ, because this is really like what just made me in awe of God, that made me a God-fearing woman. Because I just didn't understand the Holy Spirit at all. I didn't understand God or any of this. I didn't understand Jesus. And it's so supernatural. Like, believe in the supernatural because it is real. I have seen Jesus do wonderful things in my life, even during the hardest year of my life. Like, come on. Like, the peace, you can't understand the peace of God. You cannot understand the peace of God. And so when I had lost my dad, people expected me to start drinking again. I had been sober for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 months. I had been sober and I had quit drinking. I had almost lost my life. Again, that's part of my testimony to alcohol poisoning. I had this whole incident happen. And people did. Like, people expected me to go back to these old habits and these old things that I used to do. Like, why was I not blacking out? Like, my dad had just died out of nowhere. Like, there was nothing wrong and dad just dies. And it was just, it was shocking for people. Like, why are you not doing this? I was getting those questions. And honestly, if it had happened 1 year before that, like 1 year, I probably would have spiraled. Like, who even knows where my life would be? Only the Lord would know. Only the Lord would know. But He knew to reveal Himself to me right before the toughest year of my life. He knew. God just proves His faithfulness. And I had like this peace. Like, during my dad's death, during all the grieving, being, around the funeral, it was a crazy period. And it was God's supernatural. It wasn't because I wasn't not drinking because I was so strong and wow, I'm so holy and I'm just not going to drink. Like, it wasn't that. God truly changed my desires to not want to drink anymore, to not want these other things. One of the first things I ever spoke to the Lord after I encountered Him was, God, I can give up so much for you, but I'm not going to give up sex. Like, how could I give up sex? I lost my virginity at a young age. There's just no way. And that's because I was looking to clean up my own life when God was never asking me to do that. He's not asking you to clean up your own life. He's saying, come to me and I'm going to clean you up, because that's what the Lord does. He is a faithful, faithful God. Trust me on this, or don't trust me, trust Him on this. What is peace exactly? Peace is trusting God when you don't understand what He's doing. If you're waiting for your circumstances to calm down before you experience peace, you might be waiting forever. But if you learn to stay connected to Jesus, then you can have peace in the middle of a storm. Everything could be going crazy in your life. All hell's breaking loose. And there's peace. And that's the peace of God. There's no human understanding for it. It's supernatural. It's unlike no other. You're not going to have peace because your life is perfect, but you will have peace because the God we serve is perfect. So I just want you to hold on to that. If you're going through it right now, I get it. And lean into God's supernatural ability. Like, He created all of this. He created you. He loves you so, so much. And He knows everything that you're going through. So be honest with Him about how you're feeling. That is truly just been one of the best things for my relationship with Him, is just being honest about it all. And He already knows everything that you're thinking, everything in your heart. So you might as well be. Let Him transform you. Let Him heal you. As painful as it can be, it is such a beautiful, beautiful process. I love you guys. Going through this Fruits of the Spirit series, and I just hope you guys really enjoy it. Share it, like, subscribe, comment, and see if you can share this with anybody that would do well from listening to it. I love you. I will see you in the next video. My name's Cinnamon, by the way, and see you guys next time. Mwah.